Hi everyone, welcome to Proxy Minis. I'm here today to introduce Brock Potter, the head of Imagine Designs. He is an amazing sculptor that creates large-scale terrain of his world of Galdor. How are you doing today, Brock?
Pretty good.
Good. How about you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm 44 years old, father of 5, 3 boys, 2 girls. Recently moved to North Dakota from California. Originally, I'm from Wisconsin. Worked in the motion picture industry for 15 years.
So when did you start doing 3D modeling?
Right after COVID started, actually, because we were all at home. I had to fill my time doing something.
What's your first memory of tabletop gaming?
I don't know if anybody's from Nashville, and if you remember Games Extraordinaire, that was the first hobby store that I remember going to.
I love your dragons. When did you decide to transition more into terrain pieces and large-scale buildings?
That goes back to my time in the motion picture industry. I really love drafting. My job primarily was so the place that I worked at the time, there was an art director that was right upstairs. His team would design a set for whatever, and that would come down in basic shapes. Like it's blocked out, and they would do full renders of what the set's supposed to look like when it's done. But it was my job to figure out how to make their vision into something we can build.
So you took people's dreams and ideas and made them a reality.
Yeah.
How about a little rundown of what we're going to be looking at today?
Absolutely. So one of the first things I did in my Patreon was I've always wanted to make a Dwarven Stronghold. Dwarves, I have a special love for dwarves. Like anytime I play D&D, I'm usually a dwarf fighter of some sort. I just like the feel, the aesthetic of their environments and everything. It's actually 8 feet tall and 8 feet wide, so that's what, 2.5 meters, give or take.
It's huge. Yeah, it's 8 feet tall, so yeah, you're about 2.75 meters by 2.75 meters.
So the front facade is technically 5 levels, but originally there was supposed to be like an underlevel, which was going to be the mines. But since I recently started my tribes, I wanted to make it so my current patrons on Tribes and Patreon that might not have gotten the chance to get the front facade would still have something this month that they can use. So the section that was going to be the mines, I changed that all up and I made it like a Dwarven Undercity with all individual buildings for all the Dwarven craftsmen.
What scale is it approximately? So if somebody wanted to use some of their miniatures on it, what would be the relative scale? Like if you put a small D&D miniature, would that be approximately the scale of it, or is it larger or smaller?
28 millimeter will work. Everything on this Dwarven Stronghold is very exaggerated. The doors are huge because it's a Dwarven Stronghold. It's grandiose. I try to make everything work with 28 millimeter, but it's more based on a 32 millimeter.
Okay.
I would say it's 30 millimeter is what it is.
Yeah.
I try to balance both, so you can use small D&D figures. You could also use Warhammer figures. I try to find that happy medium.
Kind of like heroic 28 mil.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Let's get into the details of this structure.
Bear with me. computer's going to be a little laggy with everything in here. This is everything I have completed so far, and we're at about 80 million polygons. So as we go, the computer will get better as I turn things off. So here in a 45-degree view, I've made this down here is the Undercity. This is the entrance hall and the Great Hall and Throne Room. I still have the 3rd floor, 4th floor, and 5th floor to design. Well, the design's there, I just gotta finish it. So I'll just shut these things off that we're not talking about today. So this is a side view of everything. Behind the 2nd floor here, this is the throne room. This is a view straight on. Throne is back here. There's some chandeliers, dwarven statues. This, behind the front doors, is the entrance hall. More dwarven statues, lots of columns. Give you a little 45-degree look there. And as stated, all of this keys into the back of the front facade. So a little above look at the entrance hall. And the thing that I redesigned for this release is the entire Dwarven city that's underneath all of this. Get this in frame. So to go over the buildings, this right here is the blacksmith. It's actually got some rail car rails that go through the building and back out. In further expansions, I will be adding like hallways and mines and stuff, and all of this, everything will connect to this city layout. So this is the blacksmith. This here is the bladesmith. This large building here is the treasury. On both sides of that, there's a garrison. This building here is the stonemason. This is the armorer. Kind of get a little angle on here. This building here is the leathersmith. This is the mint and counting room. This is the armory. This right here is the mill. There's a river that runs through here and comes out the front. And there's a water wheel there that runs the saw blades. Down here we have the Carpenter Shop, furniture craftsman, scribes, jeweler. This is the potter, potion shop, and this is the explosive expert shop. All of this all fits together. There's little roads in there. And then on the sides here, you can see these all link up to hallways and stuff like that later on. This is where the river comes in. This is one of the mine entrances. And then that's the back of it.
Couple questions. How long did it take you to put this dwarven town together?
Entirely redesigning that bottom floor and making every individual house or building. That took me about 2 weeks, but I don't sleep very much. I'm usually awake at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm usually working, except for breaks and to stop to eat, until about 6 or 7 o'clock at night. So when I say it took me 2 weeks, that's 2 weeks of at least 14-hour days.
Yeah.
Because I do most of the basic structure and how it's going to fit together in a CAD program called Vectorworks. But then I export all of those basic shapes and I put it into ZBrush, and that's where I add texture, and I do some kit bashing, especially with like the stone walls in ZBrush. You have different brushes that you can use where an entire stone wall is a thing that you can just add in, and columns, stuff like that. A lot of the decorations that I use are all stuff that I design really quick and then export it from the CAD program, import it into ZBrush, and then manipulate it more from there.
Oh, okay. Cool. Let's take a look at one of the individual buildings.
So first up, this is the Armorer's Shop. These buildings are 2 stories, so they're 5¼ inches tall. The idea here was this open courtyard here where they'd have their anvils and stuff like that, where they're shaping the plates for the armor. Upstairs would be like armor assembly.
Amazing.
With each of these buildings, I also have the stuff that goes with them.
Oh, cool. Little components.
In here, there's 8 different sets of armor, an anvil, some work tables, a workbench, a small furnace, a little bucket of water, some tools and toolbox. So those all be included in with this building.
Mm-hmm.
I just started using the new bas relief tool on ZBrush here, and I made little signs.
Oh, cool.
To show or to denote what building is which. So those are separate, and if you don't like the position that I have it in, you can put it over here or wherever you'd like, or not even have it on there at all. That is the armor. So this is the armory.
I like the sort of Celtic knots on the doors kind of feel.
Yeah. That's a theme that's repeated throughout these. You look inside here.
Oh, wow.
I will remove some of this stuff so you can see. There's lots of statues in here. And then the extras that come with this building are the same armor that you saw before, plus individual weapons and racks of weapons. So you can print all these out and decorate the inside of the armory with all these different weapon racks. There's 2 different types of swords, 2 different types of hammers, 3 different types of axes, mace, shield, and Morningstar.
Wow.
So there's all sorts of little things in there that you can really make it come to life. So this is the blacksmith shop. There's the rails for the rail car. The idea behind that is the ore comes through from the mines into the blacksmith, and they hammer it down. Again, made the little sign for the blacksmith. It's got a little anvil with crossed hammers on it.
Awesome.
It's a fun little tool that they just added to ZBrush. So, oops. Now we go on to the inside of the blacksmith.
Wow, the forges are amazing. It's the dwarves of old firing their smelts. It's amazing.
So, teams of dwarves would be around each one of these, hammering on an iron. And of course, with this also comes the stuff. Again, the small furnace for like doing finishing touches, small anvil, large anvil, bellows, the little rail car, and some other tools to go along with that.
Awesome, man.
So this is the bladesmith shop. It's L-shaped. Got the stairs going up. Basically just an open room. And then the fun stuff that goes with this. So individual bladed weapons, a grinding wheel, same little small furnace, some tables. that go along with that.
Awesome, man.
This is the Carpenter Shop. My thinking on this was in the mines, they have to have scaffolding and all sorts of temporary wooden structures built. So I figured this is where they would build those. And maybe like big banquet tables or something like that.
Yeah, even though the dwarfs are known for being stonemasons, they still need to use a little wood.
Right. I made this one kind of like most of the set shops I used to work in. They were longer than they were wide. This is quite a long building. It's got the front doors here by the sign. It also has a big door to take out finished pieces in the back. On the inside, it's pretty much a bare bones kind of workshop. I figured there'd be tables and stuff like that. You know, I want to give people the freedom to decorate this how they see. So, as with all the other buildings, this one does come with
the accoutrement.
Yes. So there's a couple tables, tools, saw, chisel, mallet, little planers there, toolbox, just things that you can fill out the inside. All the planks and stuff that came with the mill, those also could be used in this building. That is the Carpenter Shop.
Very nice, Brock. I love it.
So the idea behind this building is this guy tests his explosives in the upper level. You see on the outside of the building, there's lots of cracks in the stone and damage. So if you take the roof off here and you look inside, you can see where there's spots where he's blown up his bombs. And the damage that it's caused from doing. Nice little staircase going up. And of course, this also has the extras, some little furniture, 2 different types of bombs, and some dynamite to go along with that.
Amazing, man. Can you just zoom in on the insignia above the door there?
Oh, yeah. So I figured he would be more of like a berserker kind of dwarf.
Yeah.
Like these motifs right here are kind of like miners.
Mm-hmm.
But this one's more like a berserker dwarf with a mohawk.
Wow.
I guess in Warhammer they'd be called slayers, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that is the explosive expert.
I love the character of this building. You've told the story by just the way it looks.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, so the next building is the Garrison. There will be 2 of these to fill out the city, one on each side of the armory, or of the treasury, which is personally my favorite building. I can't wait to show that.
Yeah, I've gotten some highlights of it. I'm interested to see how it's all turned out.
So, again, you know, this is just a Garrison Hall where a small garrison would be, you know, patrolling the streets for adventurers coming in or whatever. So this has got an upstairs, double staircase to a balcony. There's 2 rooms up here. I figured maybe some beds or something up here. There's a couple of rooms or maybe a commander's headquarters or something like that. The bottom floor, that's just showing the doors still there. Bottom floor is just an open area. Again, with this, you get some furniture and some weapon racks. You know, this is the jeweler's house.
I always loved the shiny stuff. Playing D&D, it was more important to sort out the loot at the end of the battle than anything else for me.
So I figure, they're finding precious gems in their mines and stuff, and somebody's got to cut those gems and make the king's jewelry, so on and so forth. Some little workshops in these towers, something like that. So there's a center staircase here. Maybe you have individual jewelers working on whatever in the corners. Bottom floor, pretty basic. Nice big staircase.
Awesome.
And then, of course, this comes with stuff. Some cabinets and benches, table, and of course,
A bunch of
gems,
gems.
cut crystals, stuff like that. These are purposely made big. You can scale them down if you want, but each of those are individual, and yeah, use them how you'd like.
Awesome, awesome.
So this building is the leathersmith. The idea behind here, he's got these balconies and stuff like that. Maybe that's where hides are being dried, hung over the edge. Kind of the idea I had when I made this. Inside, you got a stairway over here, archways going out to the little balconies. And the bottom floor, there's the stairway. So you have an assortment of belts and straps here, some work tables, a little toolbox, and a drying hide right there, or maybe it's tanned.
Very nice.
Stretched out. So that's the leathersmith. All right, so this is the mill. In the city layout, there's a river that runs through and actually comes out of the front facade. It comes out from underneath and splits. And so I incorporated that river into this, and I figured that would be a perfect spot to put the mill. So there's a water wheel here in the middle. The two buildings are pretty similar to each other, pretty much mirror image, except the one on the left has the back door on the side instead of over here. That's because the river runs right through here in an L shape towards the water wheel. So this water wheel would power two saws, one in each building. So inside each of the buildings, there's the saws.
Very nice.
And this big rack back here would be like lumber storage or whatever. So this is where they would load the raw logs, pick them up here, put them on the saw, run through here, and then out the back door would be your split logs. And again, that's the same on both sides. And there's little gear houses here, and I figured that all the inner workings of the saw would be underneath the floor, something like that, going up to this little gear house here. And the little signs that I made is a saw blade splitting a piece of wood.
Very nice. I love the attention to detail and realism. It really adds something that, makes it immersive.
Well, I love doing that kind of stuff. The more details you can put on buildings, the better overall presentation I think they give. The extra bits in here, just lots of different pieces of wood. Again, this could be used in the Carpenter Shop. They can be building things in there, and also in the Furniture Craftsman. So that is the mill. So this is the mint and counting room. So somebody's got to make the coins, right?
Yes.
So I wanted this building to look kind of like a fortress because it's the mint.
Mm-hmm.
Nice alleyway in between the two buildings. That's where your doorways are. Show off the roof here. Look inside. There's a staircase in each of the corner towers.
Nice.
Nice little spiral staircase. walkway in between.
She's definitely a fortress. Every nook and cranny's got an arrow slit ready to defend. It's awesome.
So these are your bottom floors. And of course the sign has coins, stacks of coins on it. And then the stuff that goes with this one, there's furniture, bookcases, maybe those are log books for how many coins or whatever. Furniture for on.
Dealing with gold, you need ledgers.
And then there's stacks of coins and other little things. Even individual coins. So this one sits right across from the treasury, which makes sense. They mint the coins and take them right across the street.
Mm-hmm.
This is the potion shop. The idea that I had behind here is sort of like a Wild West tavern. You know, it's got the front porch and the balconies overhanging that. I just wanted something dual purpose building. This could be your potion shop in your Dwarven kingdom, or it could be a tavern or a bar or whatever you'd like it to be.
Nice.
So, and inside here, nice big windows. You know, I don't know if this is like a drinking room or something like that, or it's where he mixes his potions, or she, I guess it doesn't have to be a he, or maybe it's storerooms for crates and stuff like that. I don't know. That's up to you.
All the weird ingredients, spider legs and
right?
warts and toads' tongues.
So then I made some cutouts here for shelving or whatever. Then all the good stuff that comes with this one. There's some cabinets, some shelving units, some benches or a bench. Then there's also a selection of different types of bottles.
Everything you need to customize your own alchemy set. It's awesome.
Right. And there's some decorative bottles. Yeah. And of course a cup and a mug, because if you're drinking a potion, maybe you want to not swig it out of the bottle. Maybe you're fancy like that, need a cup.
Yeah, throw your pinky out and take a sip.
That's right. All right, so that is the potion shop. This is the potter. Somebody's got to make drinking vessels and so on for all the people that live in this city. So I wanted this to be more like a ceramic studio, a big building with, you know, big windows, so lots of light. So this is more of a big open air room with lots of windows to let light in.
Can you zoom in on those windows? I can't believe that the interior of those windows, just swing it a little bit on a 45, that you've even textured and added to the inside edge of the windows themselves. Like, your attention to detail is just amazing, man.
Thank you. The extras that come with this one, got some shelves and tables and a potter's wheel.
Gotta have a potter's wheel.
Obviously, I feel like there'd be more than one guy in here working in most of these shops, so you can put that numerous times if you want. Or this could be a temple, or whatever you think it might want to be. I wanted to make most of the buildings kind of nondescript. That's why another reason I didn't add the signs. I mean, some of the buildings like the blacksmith, that's just going to be the blacksmith.
Yeah.
All right, this is the scribes. Or it could be the clerics. I don't know. I just wanted somebody's writing books and scrolls and stuff like that. You know, chronicling whatever. There's the sign has candles and a little scroll. Turn off the roof here. There's a spiral staircase in this one too in the center. I figured there'd be little desks in each of these corners with people writing stuff and maybe some bookcases in the center. There's the spiral staircase that's in there. And then all the stuff that comes with this, obviously bookcases, a scribe's desk, and then there's all sorts of little candles and scrolls and stacks of paper and books. This is the stonemason. Somebody's got to make all those statues, right?
That's right. And speaking of the statues throughout all these buildings are just amazing. And there's so many of them.
So I wanted him to be working on a statue. So inside here, there's just that. There's a partially sculpted statue in there. And there's some scaffolding. And the next block that he's going to work on. This is again, you know, a big open air. Could be used for numerous things. Doesn't have to be a stonemason.
Mm-hmm.
There's only a few things this guy needs. A ladder, maybe a crate, and a few tools. So that is the stonemason. And, you know, this stuff here in the center is all separate. It doesn't...
Mm-hmm.
I can shut that, or those will be separate pieces, so you can just have this big room, and you can make that whatever you want it to be.
Now you get to show us where all the gold is.
Yes. This is by far my favorite building that I made, mostly because I have a love for dragons, which is obvious, and I got to make my own treasure hoard. So, like I said, this building was a lot of fun. On the outside, there are different dwarven motifs. This one's more like a warrior, kind of like a king motif, a miner motif, a dwarf slayer motif, and like a longbeard motif. So just to show you what I meant by a treasure hoard. So if we look inside here, there's just piles of treasure everywhere. And I'll shut off the second floor. You know, there's barrels and treasure chests and cups and goblets and, you know, vases, you name it, it's all in here. Swords, little like scepters, necklaces, lots of individual coins were in here.
Yeah, it brings out the inner dragon in us all.
Yeah, right? You know, I thought about making it all organized and having like stacks of chests everywhere. And I'm like, that's not any fun. Let's have piles of gold everywhere. So that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And if that treasure isn't enough for you, there's extra piles of treasure and treasure chests and gems and bags of coins and barrels and all sorts of other stuff that you can add to it.
Very nice.
Yeah, there's lots of different treasure chests. You know, if you want, you can print those out and use those in your campaigns for treasure during your sessions or whatever. Or you can decorate this scenery or hell, anything else you want to. So yeah, there's lots of cool stuff in here to use in various places.
Awesome. Thanks so much for showing us, Brock.
So that's the treasury.
Thank you so much, Brock, for taking us through your Dwarven Stronghold. And I appreciate all the time, detail, and amazing work that you put into it.
Thank you. You know, it's been a pleasure hanging out. I hope to do this more often. Can't wait to have the Proxy Plus Kickstarter kick off. I'm very excited about that and look forward to all the opportunities that will bring.
If anybody wants to see more of your amazing terrain, where can they check you out at?
I have a My Mini Factory store. My Mini Factory, just look for Imagine Designs. I also have a tribe on My Mini Factory. And I also have a Patreon. Just search for Imagine Designs there.
Thank you very much, everybody. If you want to know more about Proxy Plus Minis, check out the website, proxyplusminis.com.